the Jace as FlyQuest removes the Lucian.
All right, double bans on Poke champions here from Cloud9. Taking out some of the premier mid lanes here. Jace also has been super flexible. We've seen him moved around to multiple lanes. Actually, worldwide, even played in the bottom lane. Lucian here also going to be taken out. Number 1 marksman still. The live nerfs to the W have not caught up with pro play quite yet.
And speaking of things that are different from pro play and live, the Urgot nerfs also not live on 9.3, so that guy is still a powerhouse there in the top lane, banning that one away on the side of FlyQuest as Cloud9 says, all right, you're taking out one of the top 80 carries, we'll take out the other one.
Yeah, I mean, and there's full sweep of long-range Poke champions here banned out by Cloud9. Looks like they would much rather play a more standard team fight setup here than have to worry about any of that damage coming through.
Nocturne will be the final ban there for FlyQuest. Maybe thinking a little bit about that game that I mentioned just a couple moments ago with the Shen, the Nocturne, and the Galio. They don't want that.
If they're not going Poke, then maybe they're going dive.
Maybe they're going to try to dive and go all in on us. We should probably stop the champion that is the catalyst for that entire strategy from happening. But with that off the table, let's see how they want to go about doing this.
Yeah, let's take a look. Actually, taking a long time here, choosing what is going to be the blind pick here. Cassiopeia did get some slight damage nerfs, but has still been super highly prized. No hesitation, actually, on the side of FlyQuest, immediately jumping on this Yasuo train. I mean, the changes to the crit items really skyrocket his popularity.
Yeah, having that extra multiplier back on the Infinity Edge again. The champion's been very strong. We've been seeing him in regions worldwide, just popping up all over the place. And what goes better with Alistar than Yasuo? Since Alistar and Yasuo can help each other out to make that wombo combo dream happen, that should be a very strong, potential even bottom lane here for these two. We've seen Yasuo go bottom plenty of times. And over on the side of Cloud9, it will be the Galio picked up once again.
And this is something that Cloud9 have put Nisqy on before in several versions of their dive compositions. And it's something that he has performed, to the team's level of expectation, right? They're roaming with the ultimates on time, holding his waves. The Sylas picks actually for Licorice comes back in without seeing very many of the ultimates. He can steal the Yasuo ultimate. There are still knockups already. Galio on his team that can help him out as well.
Alistar, a very scary ult to steal too.
But this is so different from last time Cloud9 picked it. It was last pick for them after seeing things like the Zillion in play as well, and really wanting to make use of that ultimate steal. After that game where Cloud9 first played the Sylas and they got the victory, Licorice said that he wanted way more time to practice this champion. He didn't feel like his Sylas was up to the par for LCS play. Looks like they put more time into it. And this is going to be a second go-around, so I expect some good things.
Well, the response from FlyQuest is to pick up yet another Yasuo enabler, as well as another big frontliner in the Sejuani there in the jungle for Santorin. So I guess one way to say, all right, if we think you might be going for some dive with a Galio, like our backline could be in danger, why don't we just not have a backline, send everybody in one giant ball, and be done with it?
Very well could be the case. Yasuo also works super well with Sejuani. They synergize in enabling each other's kits very easily for the stuns and the knockups. And that is a very powerful, as we saw before, could be switched to the bottom lane. If you have Alistar, Yasuo, and Sejuani, that could be very dangerous.
FlyQuest will go ahead and get rid of Olaf and Zac, targeting Svenskeren there in the jungle, while Cloud9 pays the respect ban to Viper. They're saying, all right, Riven is not exactly something you normally worry about in pro play, but we've seen this guy pop up on it a couple of times now, so we don't want to deal with that here today. One more ban comes out for Cloud9, and with 0 seconds left on the clock, the one they lock in is the Jax. Again, targeting those carries. We talked about this a little bit earlier this week on This or That.
We did.
Carries coming back into the top lane.
And these are two of the guys that we expect to do it. Licorice versus Viper. Now, the champions that they have so far still technically can be flexed around, but we really feel like Licorice is going to be playing the Sylas. And Viper did play the Riven into Sylas last week, so I believe that's where they're getting that ban from.
The death ball continues for FlyQuest, by the way. Irelia locked in on this team. Still all melee champions, all diving in, all just going after you.
There are going to be so many Sejuani stuns procced. He should be able to get off multiple ones on different targets, and ever since they changed it, he will be able to Stack that up on a bunch of different people. We'll see how the team fight does fare. The lock-in for Kindred goes through. Sven Skaren will be taking the Kindred here.
Taking a page out of the Blabber book.
It's a champion that has floated around on the fringes, but not, come back into mainstream in quite some time. And that is such a bold pick to me, to pick into this much crowd control.
Yeah.
One of the big things with Kindred can be a super snowbally jungler. You can start doing so much damage when you get all of the stacks up and you get your extra range with all your marks. But if there are a bunch of melee champions, especially in the early game, charging at you, closing that distance early, it can also be very hard to pull off the team fights before you get extra range because she's so squishy, and you have to worry about that timing window between popping your ultimate.
Just makes the 4-mark point that much more important than it normally is. FlyQuest's final pick in this draft will be LeBlanc, which does finally add a ranged champion to their roster, but it doesn't really change the Deathball identity. She's going to be jumping in with everyone else, looking to pop those value targets in the back line, and we'll see the Galio onto the support role here this time for C9.
Yeah, this has been pretty popular in the LCK, especially support Galio, but Zeyzal going to be the pilot this time around, and it looks like Cloud9 have a lot of more counter initiation and disengage options. So when the enemy team charges at them, you can have a Cassiopeia ultimate, a Galio ultimate, mostly better used defensively, and then the Kindred and Aatrox both able to save people on the team to try and buy time for those abilities to come in. Meanwhile, FlyQuest full steam ahead here, and it is going to be the Wild Turtle Yasuo. They put that one down to the bottom lane as well. He played it in our Civil War episode that we had, our special game, and it fared very well, I'll say.
Except I was on that time that he got 1v2 double killed by Claky D's Darius.
True. But he
There's a little bit of an issue there.
He absolutely destroyed the lane. They were playing against Sneaky and Afromoo as a Rise Fiddlesticks lane, and Turtle and Smoothie just absolutely destroyed them and ran over them, and me as well. I was again as the jungler. So Turtle definitely does have the Yasuo skills, and this is a guy that has also played so many different roles in solo queue, so yeah, I definitely expect him to be able to perform well.
All right, welcome to Summoner's Rift. Ladies and gentlemen, game 4 of the day. Cloud9 versus FlyQuest, a battle for second place. FlyQuest can tie it up here, or Cloud9 can continue to build that distance. All right, I'm going to need you guys to go ahead and tag at LOL Esports on Instagram with the hashtag HowILCS so we can see your viewing setups for this battle for second place. Let us know. You might be featured on the LOL Esports Instagram account so we can see how you're enjoying this contest of two teams that could be making a fight for the top of the standings.
Yeah, big stakes for this match here, right at the halfway point of the season. I'm super excited to see our featured matchup of Licorice and Viper. A lot of people have turned away from the Aatrox after the nerfs. This is including taking away the double dash from charges being able to stack up. Now, it has been used a decent amount in the jungle throughout the rest of the leagues, and we did just see the earlier matchup today. I feel like the scaling is still fine since the cooldown, the flat cooldown on your Umbral Dash does get down to a very low, like even around 3 seconds later in the game, especially with cooldown reduction. So you can use it on a fairly low cooldown, but you don't have that burst surprise factor of having 2 charges built up for a team fight to really close on an AD carry or something like that.
You're not going to see those insta-gives like we saw previously when Niski played it earlier on in the season and he got himself to that ridiculous point so far ahead of his opponents and just started deleting people. But if there's somebody who could pop off on it, I think I would put Licorice in that category. The man has done more than enough work for Cloud9 here in the past. But I'll also be watching Niski very closely because Sylas is still a very new champion. It's still one we haven't seen a lot of. And while he seems to be a little bit slow getting going, once he hits level 16, the ability to steal multiple ultimates per team fight can really create a lot of chaos.
Plus, I'm really hoping for Niski to go the AP Sylas build since he's in the mid lane here.
Right.
Against LeBlanc. The AP Sylas is just so much more fun to watch for me because the ults that he steals are that much more impactful, converting any AP ratio over to AP and having a huge amount of damage come out.
I mean, I'm always going to vote for the Chad build, but that's a given. Topside Licorice does have that wave shoved into his own turret. He'll be clearing those out for now. Viper on the Irelia. Again, keeping an eye on this guy. He's so fun to watch because he's just a great example of a guy moving from that solo queue monster. Like, yeah, he's great in Challenger, but could he succeed in pro play? Well, the answer is yes.
Definitely true, and he's been doing it on carry champion, so we got our wish. The Irelia that was buffed a couple patches ago, and we thought was really going to make a big surge into professional play up against Licorice here, the rookie of the split last year in spring. Meanwhile, I think the Mark did go over to Sven Skaren on the Kindred, was able to get into the top river, transition over there, collect the Scuttle fairly easily. He's got both Scuttles right now. Santorin on the Sejuani doesn't do a lot to contest without a super strong lane to help him collapse. I mean, if there's extra damage you can bring with you, then engaging on the Kindred is extremely strong, but without support from your lanes, you can't really deny marks.
Bottom side, Turtle going in, looking to start off the 2v2 here. Zeyzal gets himself back. JJ trying to go in a little bit further. Sneaky returns some damage onto Wild Turtle, and FlyQuest doesn't want to take this one up any further. Yeah,
look at the kiting there. Zeyzal and Sneaky able to keep their distance from JJ, so he never gets to get that stun auto attack off after charging up the chains on Alistar. Now Viper taking a beating.
Speaking of some chains connecting, Licorice makes sure Viper gets himself in a bad spot and continues to maintain lane control here. He'll shove this wave up. Viper should be able to get back and TP back into the lane, but Sven Skaren will be waiting.
Yes, Sven Skaren is making a very, very patient play here, committing a lot of time into the top lane where you see he has 3 camps available, and he was sitting in the brush for such a long time. That was covering the possibility of a gank from Santorin. I believe Cloud9 were communicating. Here we go, though.
Oh, but it's the flash coming out from JJ in the bottom side to go into Zeyzal. They've got the backup coming in from Santorin. Turtle's going to be taken very low, but first blood goes over to him anyway. Sneaky's got no mana to continue this one. The stun may yet come out. The damage goes through. Turtle's barely going to be kept alive. He will not fall, but Sneaky at least gets away as well.
I love how Turtle is willing to play on the edge here. Balancing his life on that knife's edge. Does not go down even with the tower shot afterwards, and they still got both summoners out of Sneaky after getting the kill onto Zeyzal. Let's talk about this. Take another look at the setup. C9 were betting on a top lane gank. That's why Sven Skaren was up there waiting, but it was bottom lane where Santorin decided to go. They finish off the kill here onto Zeyzal with Turtle healing off the Triumph, then able to proc the last stack for that stun with the Q. Getting the poison and into tower range, he just barely got up the shield at the end to survive there and push the wave in. But the important thing is, with that, they got 2 summoner spells out of Sneaky in addition to the 2 out of Zeyzal and the kill.
And that chase was a good demonstration of what you mentioned in Champion Select, of how easy it is to stack up these Sejuani marks and get those stuns available for her. As Sven Skaren tries to take the Infernal Drake, he will succeed barely.
There was no smite from Santorin there, I believe. It was on cooldown. So even though he walks up and finds the super low health, oh, never mind, that wasn't even him. Finds the super low health Kindred, they couldn't do anything about it. And Sven Skaren knows that he can just smite it and jump out the back with the Kindred Q.
That is such a nail-biter as the jungler. You've all been there before. When you try to think you're being sneaky, you're going to take that dragon away real early, get your team the early bonus, and then right as the health bar is getting almost smiteable, somebody walks up.
Yeah, I mean, people do this a lot in solo queue where they try and sneak in to
some of my favorite cheese.
Take the dragon early. Now that dragons are worth so much, everybody seems to be doing it, and it's happening a lot in pro play as well, where people are getting caught with their hand in the dragon pit. Sometimes it can be a big throw. Bottom lane, though, going to aggro again.
JJ coming in. Turtle finds some damage down onto Zeyzal, but FlyQuest bottom lane isn't able to really get both their aggro onto the same person. That means the fight's not going to go much further. Turtle continues dashing and slashing forward. Looking to find somebody with a tornado. Will not land it, but gets himself out of the noxious fumes all the same. Cobelter forced to retreat away from Niski here in the mid lane now and can just continue farming up.
Yeah, Niski able to push the wave out, so he gets to roam around and look for some vision. Unfortunately for him, the control wards are on the bottom side, so he doesn't find those, but he does find some nice honey fruit to sustain for his lane.
Brings some mana back. He does have the LeBlanc ultimate, which I believe gives him the enchanted version of whichever spell she used last. So I'm not sure. Looks like he does have... Let me check what spell that is, because I can't recognize it just on the icons.
Meanwhile,
he has the Mimic Distortion. So he'll have an extra jump. If he gets ganked, he has essentially a free flash to get away, or he might be able to close some extra distance to get in there further. Santorin bottom side. Thinking about maybe setting up something here yet again. Turtle has no ulti. Keep that one in mind. Santorin has his, wants to go in, finds his way in onto the enemy support. Zeyzal knocked up into the air, going to be taken very low and finally taken down. Backup has arrived for Cloud9, but Svenskeren is too little, too late.
And again, as we touched on in Champion Select, with the early lock-ins there from FlyQuest, bottom lane with a Sejuani, Alistar, Yasuo, there's just so much potential for crowd control down there. They all help each other set up each other's moves. And once again, FlyQuest visit bottom lane. They get another kill for themselves. Turtle now 450 gold for the bounty on his head. And that is exactly where they want this money to go. The whole reason people are picking Yasuo so much more now is because of all the crit items, and now he's got money to buy those items, Flowers.
Oh, it's feeling, this is looking like the enemy team Yasuo for sure, not the your team's Yasuo. He'll be very scary once he can get a couple of those purchases under his belt. And remember the new way that Phantom Dancer works, Yasuo doesn't have to try to buy a Sterix Gauge anymore either, because the Phantom Dancer will give him the lifeline passive, make him that much harder to kill when he does those very trademark Turtle plays of going in and trying to make the big moments happen.
Very true. Meanwhile, it is going to be Cloud9 now taking over the momentum, as it was just a recall from the bottom lane. So they move into the river, clear out all of the vision, and take up this Scuttle Crab here. Svenskeren has been doing his best on this Kindred while not affecting the lanes too heavily. Has one mark to his name and was able to sneak in for the Infernal Drake. So FlyQuest doing a good job getting the kills off of bottom side, but regardless of those kills, Cloud9 still very close in gold and have the Infernal Drake that they were able to trade for it. So honestly, it's not feeling like it's too scary or too far apart right now.
And one reason why Cloud9 has been able to keep the gold closer is if you look at the farm comparisons in topside, Licorice has built himself up quite a farm advantage over his opponent. He's pretty much a kill ahead in terms of gold just because he's farming better. And he's got a wave colliding with his tower now that he'll be able to get back up there and continue to farm that up here as well. This guy, time and again, just shows, even if it comes down to the little things, like making sure you're outdoing your opponent in lane, why everybody considers him so good.
Yeah, and another thing about the nerfs to Aatrox that everyone was kind of freaking out about was, oh, they took off the spell vamp for physical damage to minions, but they did also compensate him in giving some of the base health regen up. So you still get passively some extra health regen. I would say it's still definitely a nerf, you know, and it definitely did impact the champion pretty heavily, but I don't think the champion is dead by any means.
Worth pointing out too, I mentioned the Phantom Dancer change earlier, but there is not a Phantom Dancer on Wild Turtle this game. He is going for Static Shiv, as mid lane, Pobelter finds himself on the losing end of a trade for now. Second chains means that Niski has to pop the cleanse to get himself away. Saw the rest of FlyQuest coming up here. While bottom side, that means Turtle will be left alone. Has to flash away from Zeyzal so he doesn't get taunted.
Yeah, Zeyzal was looking at a pretty juicy flash himself there. So now Cloud9 with a summoner spell advantage on bottom. Turtle's got none, and C9 have all 4.
Very scary situation, but Turtle with that Shiv should be able to push the wave up rather easily. Pobelter finding himself jumped on, flashes over the wall to make sure he stays safe away from that taunt, and Cloud9 will not collapse.
All right, C9 blowing a lot of flashes in preparation for this dragon fight. I wonder if FlyQuest are still going to try and fight this. Even down so many summoners, the teleports are available for Viper.
Well, it looks like FlyQuest is not backing away anytime soon. Multiple man knock up. Oh, and again, Yasuo cutting him to pieces. Zeyzal's going to be stuck here in the middle. Shutdown credit over onto Wild Turtle. Goes over to Zeyzal, still keeping himself alive for now. He'll fall, but it's a double kill over to Viper as they continue to clean up Cloud9. Licorice wants to get away, but they'll dig him a watery grave and take the Drake as their prize.
What a clean fight from FlyQuest here, and they were able to reap the rewards afterwards. This Ocean Drake is going to be taken over effortlessly, but Svenskeren on the Kindred was CC'd from like 80% to 0 with the Yasuo and the Sejuani ultimate coming in to stun him for the last second. Let's take another look at this because Cloud9 heading down the river. They've got Licorice roaming here. So even with the teleport, this starts out as a 4v5. But my goodness, JJ gets the 3-man knockup into the Yasuo ultimate, into the Sejuani ultimate. And they are absolutely routed before Viper even got there. And then once Viper gets there, easy cleanup for Aurelia. Slips in, 2 kills. Pobelter gets the 3rd one there on Licorice, and FlyQuest have all of a sudden taken full control of this early game.
And I really like the discipline and communication at the very end of the fight as well. They see Licorice about 1 node off of the full bar for Bloodwell. They say, just let him bleed. They let it get all the way filled up. It collapses. Boom. Instant death. Don't worry about the revive. FlyQuest doing a good job in that fight. They earn the Drake. They earn themselves a 2,500 gold lead. And now, what do they do come the mid-game? That's what we want to see from these teams pushing for second, pushing for a top-of-the-table standing in the LCS, is your ability to not only get ahead, but continue to just build that lead and make your opponents bleed out harder and harder.
And if we examine FlyQuest's season so far, it has been very consistent. Even in their losses, they have been fairly controlled losses with small mistakes adding up and the enemy kind of overwhelming them later in the game. They haven't made those huge blunders, and a lot of it has been down to this team coordination that we're seeing from all of these guys that are used to being kind of the secondary carries on their teams. Belter, Turtle, Santorin, these guys have all been in championship positions and won so many North American accolades. But they've always kind of had a bigger star on the team that has eclipsed them or taken a little bit more of the fan accolades. This time around, it's all FlyQuest. It's been all teamwork as well. And now they've got the edge over Cloud9. Let's see what they do with it. 3K almost, the gold lead here. And everybody heading up towards topside.
You know, Cloud9's still a very smart team with a lot of teamwork here as well. So I want to see if they can find the opportunity to force a fight, make a rotation, outthink FlyQuest a little bit, put him in a spot where that advantage won't be as important. Santorin goes in, he's gonna miss the ult real wide, and he is in some trouble, taken down very low, bursted out. Lamb's spike comes through. Pole Belter is caught on the edge of the fight, and that is what Cloud9 needed.
Well, just as you start singing their praises, FlyQuest make a mistake, and that was a big missed ultimate to start off the team fight. If they go in without Sejuani stun, landing there, they get no kill onto the Kindred. Cloud9 turn it around with the first kill, then easy pickings there on Poe Belter afterwards as well, and it is Cloud9 turning this ship around.
And now that ship is going to steer them right towards a turret being taken in the top side. It's going to get them Rift Herald as well. Multiple rewards for winning that fight. Means Cloud9 has brought this game practically back to an even standing. Turtle moves in to clear this wave out mid lane, continuing to try to farm up here on that Yasuo. Has JJ nearby, but they won't be able to catch Nisqy. Let's take another look at the fight.
All right, so Santorin, they see Svenskeren, and they remember last time. They're like, oh, remember last time we comboed this guy? Ooh. If that Sejuani stun lands, then JJ definitely gets off his Alistar combo. That's a Yasuo that's right next to him. So the theory there is that they can do the exact same thing. 100% to 0, get the kill. However, if one domino misses, you miss the first one, Flowers. The rest of your dominoes are still standing there.
And that's boring. Who plays with dominoes to leave them all standing up? Nobody wants to do that. Turret plates taken 1-2. Cloud9 down about 160 gold from turret plates. You don't feel too bad about that one. Still down about 1,500 gold overall here for this team. But this, I'm not even going to call it signs of life. They were never so far out of the game that they needed to demonstrate signs of life. They were just immediately striking back, saying, look, you make a mistake, we're going to punish it. And FlyQuest needs to make sure they stay a little bit more careful than that in the future if they want to maintain this lead. Hold on as we get into the mid-game. Looking at items coming online, Rod of Ages for the Sylas. You've got your Archangel Staff working towards the Seraph's Embrace and the Cassiopeia. Cleaver is done on the top side for that Aatrox, but because Irelia has to build Tiamat, where Aatrox just clears everything with abilities, she's still fumbling around with Trinity Force Garage Sale, trying to put those pieces together and turn them into the final item, so Viper will be on the back foot here for a while longer.
A little bit of time extra farming now, up against the Sylas as well in the 1v1. Right now, though, LeBlanc gets grounded in a decent trade here from Sneaky on the Cassiopeia. I have to say, there is quite a lot of scaling options on both sides this time around. So it's going to be very, very explosive when they come together. Svenskeren as well, since the first kill they got was on Santorin. He had marked the enemy jungler. That is another
nice ulti coming out as they're going to be able to burst Sneaky down and take him all the way out of the fight before anything else can even happen. Shelly is summoned up, but she will be beaten down. Rift Herald goes to waste, and FlyQuest find the pick.
So Sneaky there takes the Sejuani ultimate to protect the Rift Herald spawn, but also has to give up his life in exchange for it as FlyQuest jump right on that first kill. Svenskeren also did not have the cooldown up for the Kindred ultimate, so there was no save possible there. And that is big The Rift Herald Eye goes to nothing for Cloud9, plus the extra kill and Mountain Drake over to the side of FlyQuest.
FlyQuest striking back after Cloud9 strike back. And now everybody's just striking back and forth and back and forth. Niski throwing out the shades in mid lane, not finding a whole lot of anything. Is level 12 on the Sylas. And remember, the cooldown on the ult goes down dramatically.
Who struck first then? If everyone's just striking back, who threw the first stone?
FlyQuest did. They got first blood. What are you talking about?
Fair enough. We got to keep these things straight.
All right, we got to make sure we're on the same page. This is very important. But now, since FlyQuest was the ones to strike last, Cloud9 has to strike back next.
Okay, got it.
Just so we're on the same page. As Niski just keeps farming up here on the Sylas. Like I said, level 12, so level 2 in the ultimate. Cooldown significantly shorter than it was before, but he still really wants to hit that level 16 point before he can start chaining those together over the course of a single team fight. And going back to what you said in Champion Select, Kobe, when you look at the tools on Cloud9, it's counter initiation. FlyQuest are the ones that actually have all that trigger pull ability in their composition, and that's what I'm going to be watching as we hit the mid game, as we hit these bigger fights more and more often, is who's going to be superior, FlyQuest initiation or Cloud9's ability to counter.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that is going to depend on how they set up their side waves first. They've got LeBlanc and Aurelia, both very good in 1v1 scenarios, and we've already seen throughout this game the power of the Alistar, Sejuani, and Yasuo in combining for CC to pick people off and actually secure those kills. So it's going to be up to Cloud9 to keep up their defensive vision and try and ward off a lot of those moves from FlyQuest that will be coming through. I have to say, because you were touching on the Sylas build, and he is going kind of the hybrid route here with the stacking HP and mana coming from his Rod of Ages. The one thing that doesn't have is cooldown reduction. So he's going to try and get to the level 16 mark, 4 more levels. But in addition, pick up another cooldown reduction item next, and that will really get a lot of value out of the ultimate steal.
For those that aren't aware of the numbers, final level Sylas Ultimate has a 15-second base cooldown, so if you're rocking 40% CDR, that means you will be able to steal a new ulti every 9 seconds.
Yes, sir.
Very quick ability to chain those together in a team fight as Cloud9 moves multiple people up the top lane. They never did take down that tier 1 turret after the fight they won earlier, so still have eyes on that one. But Turtle will clear out these waves very effectively. Does have Infinity Edge along with the Static Shiv. Now 100% crit chance is a scary Yasuo.
Yeah, starting to get through the multipliers here, and Turtle has gone full DPS Yasuo.
That's what I like to see.
As he said, Shiv is a very big AoE burst damage for the team fights, and combining that with the Infinity Edge, there's definitely a very large power spike here for Wild Turtle specifically, but also for FlyQuest overall. They've got full magic penetration plus Ludens on their LeBlanc. Pobelter there has been able to stack up the flat penetration. And then the Trinity Force you were waiting for on Aurelia has been purchased by Viper, so it's primed right now for FlyQuest to keep the pressure. 20 minutes in here, they want to push the pace of the game and not let Cloud9 kind of recover from the early deficit that they've been able to impose upon them.
FlyQuest has built that lead up to about 3,000, so continuing to build, but slowly and surely. 20 minutes in means Baron is alive now, so either team could potentially go after that if they find themselves a big team fight win after something else. Plenty of tier 1 turrets to still fight for. Only 1 turret taken over the course of this entire game so far, so neither team finding a lot of success with those objectives. Might see something break out here in the top side. River doesn't look quite like it, though. Pobelter continuing to find some decent damage down onto Niski there in mid lane. Next, Drake also spawning in about a minute as FlyQuest moves up to the top side T1.
Yeah, you can see FlyQuest trying to pressure all 3 lanes. They had Viper push out the bottom lane, then hover back up through the river for a possible collapse. Meanwhile, Alistar and Sejuani stand right by the Yasuo there. Those 3 combining for so much pressure. They're jumping over the walls, and they might be going for this. Pobelter roaming as well.
Wild Turtle finds himself in a bad spot, though. He's caught out and burst down. FlyQuest go way too far forward. Turtle's not able to catch up to the rest of the team, and now JJ will be thrown under the bus to FlyQuest. Critical error.
Now the Baron is up as well, and Cloud9 have positioning on it. Viper's bottom side, they want to try and blow his teleport because Licorice committed his.
This is such a dangerous spot for FlyQuest, and Cloud9 knows it. They're forcing this now. Viper's made his way into the fight. Vanguard's Edge is ready to go if they decide to go in. Pobelter tries to pop their attention, at least a little bit for now. Licorice using his own ultimate. Cloud9 still going to put some more damage onto the Baron. They're still sticking onto it. It's down to about 2,000 HP. Licorice still going to be taken very low. Bloodwell filling up. Santorin into the back of the pit. Pobelter grabbing the kill onto Licorice. Santorin is going to be taken down. Vanguard then now into the rest of Cloud9. They found themselves the Baron. They've got themselves the Lamp to spite. Viper's going to be taken very low. Finds triple stun. Looking to find even more. Won't be able to get it. Pobelter, can he pick off the targets? He's got most of his HP left, but he cannot fight one versus three. JJ's made his way into the mix now. Looking to find the CC onto Sneaky. Looking to find the damage. They've got the kill to shut down. Over to POB as Niski will return one and take him down.
Oh my goodness, what a fight here. Cloud9 versus FlyQuest. Battle over second place leaves nobody breathing. Oh my goodness. Let's take a look at how it started. We talked about counter initiation. Turtle gets taunted under the turret, so it turns him around. Sneaky then is able to land a Cassiopeia ultimate for a great 100% to 0 from the C9 side. And so they think this is their chance back into the game. They start burning down this Baron. Licorice trying to hold off Pobelter and Viper. Santorin flips over the backside on Sejuani, and they delay the damage long enough. Honestly, this was very good, calm shot calling from C9 to be able to secure that Baron, kill off the enemy jungler first. Then afterwards, though, Viper, with a clutch play, pulls off the execution. And since JJ now respawns and is able to get back to the fight, he and Pobelter turn it back around. They get the kill onto Sneaky. And then Niski, with the flash, is able to get back in there, kill the LeBlanc. They've got one Baron on Niski. I think that might be the only one to have survived it. Yeah, that's the only one left. Oh no, Zeyzal's got his as well. So they've got 2 Baron buffs to push with. If they wanted to try and get 2 lanes going and get these outer turrets, it is possible. Svenskeren does also get them the Ocean Drake here. So C9 have pulled this one pretty much right back to even, plus with the advantage of Baron buff pushing.
And the next time you see anything that might even closely resemble that, make sure you tweet us at LL Esports with hashtag LCS Big Plays, so we know exactly what you're keeping all your eyes on here as well.
Basically, when you hear Flowers rapping for 2 minutes plus, that's probably a good indicator.
But Cloud9 still has Baron on 2 people, which critically means you can apply Baron buff to 2 separate lanes. That's one of the biggest powers of getting this buff, is the ability to split push, to pressure the map in multiple places. And since you still have 2 guys, you can still get that done. And FlyQuest now still has another minute that they have to wait out.
Yeah, and FlyQuest actually a really good job moving Viper up to the top side. They traded turret for turret there, so it was 1-for-1 initially. And now it's just a question of, will the mid lane also receive some damage? I think so far the defense going quite well for FlyQuest. Niski here by himself shouldn't be able to finish off this turret. He is applying the Baron buff to the cannon minion, and you can see the cannon minion doing a lot of work itself.
Some ruby crystals in the inventory of Wild Turtle lets me know we might be looking at the Sterix gauge after all, considering he didn't go for the lifeline in the Phantom Dancer, probably going for it in that. Help deal with some of those situations where he gets bursted down so quickly, so we won't have another team fight like the last one for FlyQuest.
And one of the underrated parts of Sterix Gauge is it gives you tenacity when it procs as well. Tenacity, very important against this CC-heavy team.
But Pobelter is on the flank. They're looking to maybe punish Cloud9 here. Turtle tries to throw out the whirlwind, but will not be able to find it. Niski smells something funny going on, wants to go after Pobelter.
He's trying to land those chains on the LeBlanc, but this is a very difficult mage to pin down.
As Cloud9 continues pushing up here in mid lane, the Baron buff is gone, so they no longer have the ability to enchant the wave. Santorin going to be taunted up, but that's not the guy you want to go after. The front line for FlyQuest, very strong here. They do not want to engage this just yet. They don't have their solo laners ready to go. They'll be happy clearing out the waves. Viper still in the top half of the jungle, and Cloud9 backs away.
Whew. Yeah, a couple of aftershocks proc there, so then they get huge defensive boosts for a couple of seconds, and everybody backs off in that small timing window. Again, though, you can see C9 pushing hard for the offense, trying to get something done under turret. Meanwhile, FlyQuest trying to use their solo laners to get the split pushing done. Viper top side, Pobelter on the bottom side, pushing the wave and then threatening for those collapses to come in and try and get the flank onto C9. Niski, that guy, has done a good job of keeping track of Pobelter. It feels like he's got a marker on him. He's been screening that bottom side, trying to not let him any window into the fight.
Very, very tanky build for Niski as well. Spirit Visage into Iceborne Gauntlet, building up those cooldowns you talked about, but not itemizing for AP pretty much whatsoever outside of the bit that he got from the Rod of Ages. So No huge burst will be coming out of him in these fights. However, he is 90% of the way there pretty much on the EXP bar towards level 16, which means stealing a lot of high-value ultis in these team fights. You can get the Alistar ult, the Sejuani, the Irelia, so many good targets for them to use to try to counter-initiate these fights that FlyQuest will continue looking for. Over on the side of FlyQuest, you can see the Irelia becoming stronger and stronger. The Trinity Force, the Titanic Hydra. Viper's at a spot now where early on in the game, it was always Licorice pushing up, always Licorice in control of the side lanes. But ever since that T-Force came online, Viper feels pretty comfortable.
Yeah, and you could hear the FlyQuest coach. He talked a little bit about split pushing in general and how he felt like a lot of the other teams were a little bit trepid to take that strategy up because it is dangerous. Turtles goes in, though. He gets taunted.
Turtles taunted up, string very low. He barely tries to get himself away, but it's not going to happen. Again, the grounding. So very effective at punishing Turtle. And that is yet another time where he goes in, tries to make the play happen, but Zeyzal is always there with the taunts to shut him down.
And that time, Viper was all the way back in base as well with the Aurelia. He wasn't split pushing. He wasn't with the team as well for the fight. Pobelter flanks though.
Pobelter wanting to go onto Sneaky, forces the flash over the wall, but now a lot of damage coming down onto JJ, keeps himself alive with the Alistar ultimate. Pobelter trying to get himself away from Licorice. Sinskaran going into the land with Spike, giving himself alive. Viper also going to be taken very low. Shutdown credit over to Sinskaran. Cloud9 makes it 1 for 0. Still looking to find something even greater. Baron looks like that prize, and that's where they head.
Yeah, FlyQuest go aggressive without Turtle respawning yet. That was a 4v5 engaged into Cloud9, a disengaged heavy composition. So you can see the Galio ultimate, the Cassiopeia ultimate, the Kindred ultimate all go down. They protect themselves, and now Baron's at 4,000 HP.
FlyQuest says never say die. They want to go in here and try to stop this, but instead they're going to be rooted, they're going to be taunted, they're going to be beaten down into the ground. The brush isn't going to save them. Sneaky tries to keep himself alive, but Pobelter goes behind enemy lines to stop the play from working out. Turtle's almost going to find the outplay. Wild Turtle nearly does it, but Niski says no, sir, not today.
Oh my God, the heal comes in there just at the very end for Niski, and these duels are exciting. I want to direct your attention first to the top side of your screen because that is going to be the fight to keep Santorin away from the Baron, very important. But then the bottom side of your screen now in Baron Pit, Pobelter goes in, solo kills the Kindred because Kindred ultimate was used earlier, and then uses Baron's damage to finish off the second kill for himself in the backline. Pobelter basically saving this one for FlyQuest. And then, oh my God, right there, Niski flash heals with, oh, never mind, we got a Dragon Take.
Infernal Drake has been taken by the side of FlyQuest. Zeyzal gets the kill on Viper in retaliation. You saw Niski go in there with the stolen ultimate of Wild Turtle to make sure that they were able to secure that one. But Pobelter definitely the hero of the day in that Baron play, going back there to make sure that Cloud9 was not getting the buff.
Yeah, he goes in, he takes down Svenskeren, the jungler first, then uses Baron to pin Sneaky inside as well. Gets the second kill, but Cloud9 are back on it again. They're starting it up, and they burn through this thing.
Cloud9 are saying, look, you lost your top laner. It's a 4 versus 5. We should be able to do this. JJ's around the side, looking to maybe go in. You have to set Turtle up for this one. He can't just be taken out at the start here yet again. JJ goes in, Turtle right behind him, looking to find the damage. They pop him into the resurrection already. Licorice grabbing the kill onto Santorin as the Black Turtle is secured by Wild Turtle!
Oh my goodness, they're all gonna die afterwards though. C9 are on the chase, Pobelter's running for his life.
Pobelter tries to get away. LeBlanc's got a lot of tricks up her sleeve, Kobe, but she doesn't have long enough sleeves today. The shutdown over to Sinskaran. Cloud9 puts a few in the dirt for that one. Viper's alive, but did he respawn in time to even get the buff? No, he did not.
These Baron's flowers. Okay, so once again, they were trying to kill off the Sejuani. They're leaving the Baron at high health while that happens. Then Redemption comes to see Turtle. 89. I think it was just a Q right there. Was able to finish off at 89. Regardless, C9 killed all of FlyQuest afterwards. Viper has respawned here, but C9 without the Baron buff still get inside the base, and they're going to take an inhibitor.
Cloud9 get inhibitor. FlyQuest neutralized Baron. And now you've still got 15 seconds before Pobelter is back alive. FlyQuest not wanting any more of these 4 versus 5 fights if they can help it, but not wanting to exactly give away 2 lanes of inhibitors either. Cloud9 continuing to push this up. Take advantage of the fact that Pobelter is dead, but now that he's alive, FlyQuest has all those initiation tools we were talking about. Can they find their way into the mix? And it looks like no.
Whew. What a few Barons we have had, Flowers. Those have been some exciting fights. Right now, it's going to be a full reset, and Cloud9 were just able to get both inhibitors before getting out without anything left for FlyQuest here to pick up on the backside. So this is a huge, huge moment. If C9 can just reset and then apply the rest of their pressure to the bottom side, they can wait for super minions to come into FlyQuest base and act as that sixth man on the field. Really, now the name of the game is going to be patience. Up until now, it has been a lot of frantic plays. However, let's see if they can continue this one towards the bottom side a little bit more calmly.
But I don't think FlyQuest have demonstrated good patience this game. I think that they've had multiple errors where Turtle's been caught out, or they've tried to initiate, or they've missed some stuns from Santorin in the one fight in the top side, where FlyQuest know that they have all the tools to force these fights, but the way they're doing those forces, the way they're mis-executing, has put this team in the spot that they're in right now, where they're now on the back foot. So not only do you have all this free pressure rolling in, but your opponents know it's do or die time. The next time they go in could be the very last time.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of time for FlyQuest to work with. As Cloud9 are knocking at the door for the last inhibitor. Right now, Licorice pushes up the mid lane to allow these super minions to get inside the base, and FlyQuest are going to have to ask decisively.
JJ's already been taken down to about half HP. Pobelter barely getting himself away, and surely there's no way FlyQuest can fight this now. Cloud9 will march into the base as FlyQuest retreats to heal. Inhibitor turret number 3 down. Inhibitor number 3 targeted. Viper on the retreat. Santorin on the retreat. Everybody else chilling in the fountain, just waiting. As now Cloud9 has entire domination of Summoner's Rift. Zazel's finding himself the taunt here yet again. Viper's locked down. Viper's blown up. FlyQuest in some trouble. They can't get the damage, and Cloud9 will take this fight. JJ's trying to keep Sneaky away, but Licorice will slam Pobelter right back into the ground as Santorin tries to retreat. Turtle tries to go in, and FlyQuest will try, but it will not matter. Cloud9 will retain sole possession of second place, and they will take FlyQuest out in 34 minutes.
Woo, look at the reactions after that one. Cloud9 get their hard-earned victory here. And as you said, gain sole possession of second place. Looking very strong here, heading into the second half of Spring Split.
And man, do I want to give kudos to Zazel that game. You talked about how support Galio. We've seen it over in Korea. This time we're getting to see it in NA, and his taunts were on point. Those were the things constantly stopping Turtle when he tried to go in. That was what caught the Irelia at the end and allowed them to just blow Viper up. Zazel was there today.
Definitely a huge, huge playmaker for this team. Cloud9 have always been so outspoken about the shot calling coming from this guy as well. Having him on a playmaking champion with some hard CC, definitely returning big victories for them.
Cloud9 feeling good about that one, and that's how they're going to finish the final game of the first round robin here for this squad. So getting out of those first 9 games being 7-2 now feels pretty good for the side of C9. All they have to do now is figure out how to beat those teams that beat them last time, and they're cruising.
Yeah, I think their sights are set on Team Liquid.
Oh yeah.
Definitely the one at the top of everybody's list. Just dropping the one game, but still looking so strong. I think the interesting thing about the matchup between Cloud9 and Team Liquid is that I feel like most of the time you know what you're getting from Team Liquid, but Cloud9 have showed a lot of different things.
And today, Cloud9 showed their ability to punish their opponents even when Cloud9 didn't have a ton of initiation tools themselves. They waited on FlyQuest to just go too far or get too impatient, and the punishment was always there. We saw Turtle get caught, we saw Santorin get caught, we saw Cloud9 make that happen. And to break down that bloodbath of a game, let's give it to none other than the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you very much, Captain Flowers. Bloodbath is a good word for it, as C9 mounts the comeback to retain second place here against FlyQuest. But it was exactly that. It had to be a comeback for Cloud9 as they went down early to some impressive play out of the FlyQuest squad.
Yeah, and I think it is really impressive from FlyQuest how well they have played against C9, how much they have kind of risen above the expectations of everyone in this league, because this is a team that, yes, they didn't win today, they did not actually tie for second, but they're clearly in that conversation and they're clearly in the competition with these top dogs.
Right, and I think especially with the top lane matchup that we were hyping up, I thought it was really interesting. You saw a couple early kills going over to Viper, but Licorice was still able to have decent pressure on the Aatrox, and it was back and forth for a lot of that game, not just in the top lane, but across the entire map.
And yet again, second game in a row, we have a very unique draft. This time around, we've got the Yasuo into a Cassiopeia in the bot lane, so melee versus range, and the Aurelia finds herself in a top lane matchup.
Yeah, and I think it's actually really cool that teams are now adapting. I think last week, there was some of the patch had come through, but people had not necessarily practiced enough or actually made a lot of their adaptations. I think we've seen in some of the other regions that these non-standard bot lanes are pretty popular. I've been seeing a ton of this sort of stuff in solo queue also. Cassios, Yasuos, all this sort of stuff coming down in the bot lane. So now the teams have had a little bit of time to practice. I think we're getting to see more unique styles, and hopefully we get to see more of this, because I think it's fun when different teams have different styles that they're bringing to the table.
So let's talk about style, because I think with all these unique drafts, it can be kind of difficult to delineate or discern what exactly the style of each of these compositions is or how they want to execute within the game. So Mark, with these two that we had here, Cloud9 versus FlyQuest, break down.
You heard Professor Kobe at the top of the day. It's dive comp. Well, I think that's exactly what FlyQuest drafted again. They're probably one of the best hard engaged teams in the league, and they picked it here again, whereas C9's draft is all about reacting with the Kindred, with the Sylas being able to steal the correct ult based off the situation, Galio being able to join up. And here's a situation where you see a great engage started off by JJ on the Alistar and kind of instantly wins the fight because they kill the Kindred before she can ult. And after that, it's really hard for C9 to take this game.
And I really like the way that FlyQuest has kind of shown us different versions of the same style, right? When you think back even to their earlier weeks and their early wins, it was with the Orange support, giving them additional forms of engage. They've been running a lot of different styles, but all with the same kind of focus.
Right, and here's an example where the Sejuani ult whiffs. There was a nice hop out of the way by Sven, and then as soon as that goes in, Pobelt was trying to finish that playoff, but they didn't get the clean initiation, and C9 was able to react accordingly. So you had this kind of proactive versus reactive team fighting from both of them.
Right, so then it's just fun to watch who can actually execute better in any given moment, and fights went both ways throughout the game. Ultimately, Cloud9, the team to come out on top, securing a couple Barons for them, or one Baron for themselves, losing one but winning the team fight after and able to close the game from there.
It could have been a little cleaner too. Both teams had a couple of hiccups.
Without a doubt, but it was exciting to say the least. And I think now I want to return to that conversation of top three and where these teams, really land on the ladder. Yes, I think it's time for everyone to admit that FlyQuest is here and they are good, right?
Yep.
But my question is, are they definitively the third place team in the league? Are we looking at anyone in that fourth, fifth, sixth slot that might challenge them, or are our top three teams in a league of their own?
I don't think that you can say it's definitive yet. I think that TSM, especially a lot of their fans, would be making the argument after they beat TL last week, the only team to have done that, the only team to have really gotten super close to even doing that. So certainly I think they have to at least be in the discussion, but I would say they're definitively a playoff team. They're definitively near the top of the table and can compete with the very best. It just remains to be seen, as some of these other teams are improving, can they actually catch up and make ground on FlyQuest, who has looked like a really solid team from day one?
I would go and say definitively it's 1, 2, 3 for me, TL, C9, FlyQuest. I think TSM is starting to make up ground right now, but I don't think I've seen consistently the level of coordination that you see out of FlyQuest right now. And so I really do think FlyQuest is the third place team in the league. It's more about finding out the next 3, 4, 5, 6, as well as the bottom of the table.
I got good news for you on that front. FlyQuest plays TSM tomorrow, so we're going to get a little look.
One of us will be right, one of us will be wrong.
I don't know if it's necessarily wrong or right.
Wrong and right. That's all we care about here.
That's all it is for Mark.
Bet your job on.
Well, no.
So then,
am I good?
Thoughts on how FlyQuest and TSM match up, especially considering how they just played Cloud9 here.
I mean, I think Mark made a really good point. It's kind of what TSM shows up on the day, because they haven't had the same level of consistency that FlyQuest has. When I was talking about this earlier this week on the dive, to me, FlyQuest is the better team, but TSM is the better individual pieces, and is TSM going to come together and actually have the team play in the coordination and eliminate some of these individual mistakes that they have had to become an even better team? Because you think that the potential of that squad should be higher than that of FlyQuest.
And I think the top lane matchup again, we highlighted it today, and I think it's important again tomorrow, where Broken Blade was pivotal in that victory over Team Liquid, and I think we'll need another big game against Viper tomorrow to be able to upset FlyQuest, because it feels like if things go slow, and TSM is very active in the early game, but if things go slow, I think FlyQuest has way better mid and late game shot calling.
All right, let's evaluate that top lane matchup. You touched on it briefly. It's cool to watch these two go up against each other. It was our featured matchup for the day. Bahuni calling Viper out as the second best top laner in the league on the dive as well this week. I mean, is that true? To me, 9 games into your rookie split still seems too early to definitively put you in a number 2 position for pretty much any role, but
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Like, maybe he got slammed by Viper for a week, and he's just like, top 2.
And to be fair to him, he was saying it's based purely on this season's performance.
Oh, okay, all right. So
looking...
strictly out of those 9 games.
Exactly. So out of those 9 games, he felt that Viper had performed second best. I think that's a reasonable argument to make. I think he has actually performed on a number of different styles of champions. He was playing tanks in the early days. He's brought out his Riven, as that kind of special pick and did really well on that. He's performed on a lot of different champions, but these two obviously were very, very much top of the table.
Again, I find it funny, too. We're not talking a ton about Niski, but that only goes to your point that you made at the top of the day, Mark. The fact that we're not talking about him means he slotted into this team so damn well.
Yeah, his Silas was super good. We didn't even talk about it, but he was always stealing the right ultimates, had an interesting tanky hybrid combination of AP and sustain, went for the aftershock. I thought he played super well.
All righty, there you have it. Game 4 in the books. It's break time, but when we come back, TSM and Counterlogic Gaming face off for the first time in 2019. A reminder that if you're thinking to yourself, hey, I'd like to see the last time CLG beat TSM, you can go all the way back to the 2016 Prime.